Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first video of Uncrowned Legends in Chess, and today we're covering a little bit of Adolf Anderssen. So, Adolf Anderssen is, in one sentence, a romantic mastermind. You see, he pretty much started the whole movement of romantic chess, or at least he was one of the uh, big players in that sense that did this. And he lived before the World Championships was a thing, but if it was in his lifetime, it would he would have definitely probably been a world champion. He was born in 1818 in what is now Poland, and he rose to fame as the strongest player of his time. He was you know, he has many dazzling masterpieces like the Immortal Game and the Evergreen Game, showing fearless attacking and brilliant game service that is full of sacrifices. It's really creative. His games don't just win brilliancy prizes, but they help shape chess a lot. He was, a gentleman as well over the board. He was respected by Morphy and Steinitz, and he continued playing at a high level in his 50s, which was very rare for his time, even today, actually. So let's get into the games that I am here to showcase. So as you can see, we have the first game is between Anderssen, Adolf Anderssen, and Berthold Solé. I think that's how you pronounce it. And the game is aptly titled Cercle de Soleil. And so the game starts off with, very nice piece placement. This is known as the Italian, and all I really want to mention here is that a very typical classical way of playing chess, and this is how you should actually play, fighting for control over the center and developing your pieces quickly. And in this position, Anderssen plays the Evans Gambit. This white sacrifices a pawn to speed up development and go for the king, which sounds perhaps a bit weird, but yes, you're already aiming to attack the king from this point onwards. This gambit was invented by Captain Evans in the 1820s and became a favorite of attacking legends like Anderssen and Morphy, on which I will make a video at some point as well. And not gonna lie, the fact that a captain is behind an opening called the Evans Gambit is really, yes, cool. So, Black decides to accept the gambit, and as you can see, the whole center is now taken by White. White is completely taken over the center, but also the center is opened up. The bishop is seeing a lot, and also because the center opens up, which it favors usually the side of development, which in this case you can see. I know these two pieces in the back isn't developed yet, but they'll get developed very fast. White is castled and black isn't castled. He only has these two pieces out. His king is not castled. So, as you can see in the next following moves, for example, d5 is just Anderssen just pushing the knight away. Trying to gain space. So this pawn can't ever move, it's fixed. And yes, this knight is attacking the bishop, but also this is to gain initiative. He's forcing black to respond to him. And this move actually, believe it or not, opens up the center even more for this diagonal. And that's why after bishop b2, black can't actually play knight takes on c4 because that would lose to bishop takes on c7, hitting the rook, which can't be protected. So black responds with knight f6, and now white responds with knight e3. Admittedly, both sides have only 3 pieces developed, but in this position white is already castled, so black is still behind that part, and the knight on a5 is really badly placed. So after bishop c4 by white, deciding, okay, I'm going to pin this knight so it can't move, um, white just decides to bring out their last piece as well, and now obviously the party can start. c6, again, I would probably recommend just castling at this point. I don't think this is necessarily bad. If they take, it's not too bad, but this allows me to play knight e2, which at first glance you might be asking, okay, but what about takes? And perhaps that's true, but take and it's not that clear cut. So, but I'm not going to go into variations too much. So castle, queen d2, again not taking because why? Because admittedly, take knight just drops in front of their pawns. You can't attack white, and the pieces are still coming in. This knight actually gets improved here. Rook c8, and now this is really the first moment worth pausing at. Queen g5 looks aggressive, going after g7, and maybe planning ideas like bishop takes f6. But admittedly, the computer doesn't like this as much. But admittedly, it's not for the reason you think. The computer actually thinks rook a to c1 is more correct. So again, so Anderssen and the computer is basically playing the same moves for the most part. So that's just showcasing his brilliance again. So after bishop takes f3, g takes f3, c takes d5. And well, yes, white's king is exposed and black has a center. Sule must have been thrilled at this point, and Anderssen does look quite lost. This rook is on a open file. The center is taken, and if you don't take back a pawn, king is open. That looks like you can attack and stuff. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. So after king h1, Sule played knight c4, attacking the bishop on b2, and if you take, the rook takes, and you've gotten rid of the both of these very dangerous bishops. Gotten rid of the bishop there. But even though, but really, this is a disaster. Knight c4 just looks flashy, and it gives up basically everything. In fact, after the following move, the game is practically over. And here's my question: spent a few, spend some time trying to find the next move. On one hand, easy to find. On another, it might not be easy to find. It is in fact a sacrifice, by the way. And so, but it's also not a sacrifice. And so Anderssen played rook g1, threatening checkmate in 1. That's why I said it's both a sacrifice and not a sacrifice. You're sacrificing the knight on b2, but you're not going to be taking it as black. And now Anderssen, just to actually showcase how bad this position is, also should just mention that the correct move instead of knight c4 would have been knight to e8. That's pretty much the only move protecting g7 preemptively and offering a queen trade. And yeah, but after knight c4, rook g1, knight e8 doesn't cut it. By the way, the computer wants this because that's the only way it sees black stopping checkmate, which is immense if you really think about it, because you're just straight up giving up the knight. So white would just be up a piece in that position. But let's see how the game ended. So from here on, it's just art. It's something that we can enjoy. And yes, the first move is indeed queen takes g7 check, a sacrifice. And the idea behind it is the only move for black in this position is to take back with the knight, after which we take back again with the rook with check, and king goes to h8. Now we might go and say, okay, but where's the tactic, where's the finish? Doesn't look like it. You know, rook moves away somewhere. The rook just, you know, the king could get protected by the pawn. So interestingly enough, I will say this, Anderssen saw the whole sequence from this position. At the very least, he saw the whole sequence of moves leading to checkmate in 5 moves. He saw a sequence of checkmate in 5 moves from this position. So it is queen takes, knight takes, rook takes, king g8, rook g8 check, king takes g8, followed by rook g1 check, queen g5, only move, rook takes g5, checkmate. And that, I'm not going to lie, was a brilliant game. The only mistake that all Anderssen made throughout the entire game, to just point out how well he played here, was queen c5, and it's only an inaccuracy according to an engine. I believe he played here something like 95% accurate, which is, you know, again, insane. And I would say that I think it would be actually fine of me to say that this opponent didn't make any big mistakes. But now let's actually move over to the next game on the list, which is known as When the Museum Stopped. This was played between Adolf Anderssen and Johannes Zakkertot, which later on went on to challenge Steinitz and others for world championships. So Zakkertot became quite a name in his own right later on in life, and I'll probably do an Uncrowned legend on him at some point as well. But the game opened with e4, e5, f4. This is the King's Gambit, one of the most aggressive ways to meet e5. However, I should note that with today's engines and theory and stuff, f5, f4 isn't really played as much. But I still would say it's an opening that you could play, but better would be knight f3. And he takes f4, knight f3, g5. Of course, this is just the full-on accepted King's Gambit, and this is now considered nowadays main line. And white actually, in this position, doesn't play the main line here. You've got options of h4, you've got options of knight c3, but the most played move here is h4, by the way. But this is the third most played move nowadays, and well, not let's just say the third most played move, but this is exactly romantic chess. Bishop c4. It aims to play the Museo Gambit. Again, going back to the name of the game, when the Museo stopped, the Museo Gambit, specifically the I will say the Wild Museo Gambit, So g4 gets played, and the reason it is, aiming to play this Museo Gambit is you're actually giving up the knight. I would not recommend playing this, by the way. So castle, and Zucker thought could just have gone and taken on f3. Queen takes on f3. Queen f6, protecting the pawn, saying I'm fine with it. Queen trades. D3, knight c6, and so forth. Yes, continue on with the game, trying to keep it equal, but it is a mad game. It's not that easy to play for black, by the way, which is why it's insane that you can play like this. But the Zucker thought was like, I'm not going to take your knight immediately. I'm just going to play this. I'm not exactly sure why he played this. But I think he was trying to defend against ideas of bishop take on f7 and so forth. But Anderssen has continued saying, take my knight, take this gambit, that you don't have anything better. And Zucker went on to take the knight, full center stake, and not even taking back the pawn. And knight d5 is a really good move. It's Anderssen is piling on, the pressure. The knight is really well centralized, looking at some nice squares, attacking the queen, getting some, again, tempo initiative. This f-file is semi-open for white, but that will be quickly fixed. And this bishop is also on a really nice square, so 3 pieces are active already. This piece and the queen is going to join the party very soon. White is castled, and black, look at this, everything is on the back bank. So I did wonder if I should show this game, but I still think it's a marvelous finish. So queen d7, queen d7, queen takes f3, knight c6. And this is a defensive move, trying to protect stuff, but it doesn't cut it. Now Anderssen fully on explodes the game open in short fashion after queen takes f4, knight d8. Idea being that, again, this is protected. Queen z3, and it's a mistake, but again, it shows you how tactically strong Anderssen was. So c6 is just not great. Knight c6, knight e6, sorry, is a much better move to play here, as it stops a variety of tactics from working, whereas c6 doesn't. And so the tactic that knight e6 would have stopped is what Anderssen actually plays. And now I will show this and go, what would you play in this position? Getting a great position. Go think about it. Take as much time as you want. Pause the video, think about it, and after you've got your answer, come back and check if you have found the same move. And boom! Anderssen sacrifices the queen for a brutal attack, not even checkmate, by the way. And really, the only thing you can ask here is, can he really afford to do this? Well, yes. By the way, the next move for Anderssen actually seizes an inaccuracy as to point out how truly vicious the position is. The computer actually wants c takes instead of rook takes c8. And the reason rook c8 fails is knight f6 check, king to e7. And by the way, this is just a beautiful fly of checks. The knight, is dominating the position, and a dance in action. Knight takes on the rook on t8, king goes back to e8, knight to f6, check again, picking up the queen. And basically, the next move will be him finishing his development, and he's got the bishop there, but his king is stuck in the middle. and the bishops are basically not great with rook, and this rook can easily come into the game at some point. Um, and yeah, Zucker's thought decided he doesn't want to be part of this game anymore, and so he resigned. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like it, just comment something, like it, and also please do, if you're living in South Africa in the Gauteng province, maybe near in Johannesburg, please do check out the Pretoria Chess Club. We have a Facebook page, and yes, we are always willing for new people to come and play. That's all from me, and everybody have a nice time. Cheerio.